Chapter 10. It was still lunchtime, and it seemed a shame to waste a day off, so Steve stopped off in the city centre and walked down to the Barbican where the sea met the town. The tide was down, and the dumpy fishing boats wallowed in the mud, little rivulets of water carving tiny valleys past them. He sat on the edge of the wall, just past the Mayflower steps. The inscription, once new and shiny, but now suffering from the attention of seagulls with a good aim but no sense of history, informed him that this was the last point in Britain that the Mayflower had moored at before taking the Pilgrim Fathers to the New World. He sat for a while, listening to the gulls mewing. "So, we meet again, Mr. Bond." The familiar voice made him turn around, leaning on the pavement leading up to the wall. "Emily, what are you doing here?" "I could ask you the same thing. I thought you were supposed to be off sick. Stewpot would do his nuts if he saw you." "I've just come back from the doctor's." No sounds in turn of what kind of doctor. "I thought I'd get some fresh air and solitude before going back home." "It is a very nice day. Very salubrious." "What?" "I've had enough long words for a lifetime these past 3 days." "Health-giving. Salubrious. A very Victorian word. Something you might find in Alice in Wonderland." "That's odd. I was going to say he'd been there last night, but thought better of it. I saw a programme about that last night on TV." "Really? How's the tooth these days?" "Not so bad. That wasn't why I was at the doctor's, anyway." "Oops." "Oh, why then? Still got that flu hanging on?" Emily had been worried when Steve hadn't turned up that morning. She'd been looking forward to finding out how he'd been coping with the events of the night. "Well, I've been having all these dreams since it all went wrong at the dentist, so I thought I'd see a specialist and get it all sorted out." "For a couple of bad dreams? That seems a bit strong." "It's not the dreams. Look, do you mind sitting down for a moment? It'd be nice to tell someone about it." She sat down next to him, dropping her handbag on the pavement. "Sure, I've still got most of the lunch hour left anyway." "Yeah, well, good. It's a nice day not to be in the office." "Sure is. Now then, what's the matter?" asked Emily. "Like I said, it's not the dreams. They're one thing. I've never had them before, but Dr. Sells, the dentist, did say that people were affected that way sometimes by the gas, and it wears off. But I don't know how to describe it. I've started to think strange thoughts. All sorts of things I didn't notice before or even care about. They've become important somehow. Other things annoy me. The newspaper, the radio, even the job at Saunders. Do you know what I mean?" "It sounds to me like he spent lunchtime in the Navy," and she nodded in the direction of the Barbican pub, which squatted 100 yards or so away from the steps. "No, I had a glass of wine last night, but I think that's worn off by now. Since then, breakfast, coffee, and nothing. Anyway, I've never felt more sober." "Don't worry about it. You had a dream and woke up covered in blood. It'd mess me up too. What you need is a good distraction, something to take your mind off things, a little unreality in your life." "Taking my mind off things would be nice," Steve sighed. "But like I said, the paper's no good anymore. Who the hell cares about some bimbo in London walking out on a pop star who can't sing and can barely shave?" "It does seem a bit strange," said Emily, who normally saw this sort of distraction as proof positive of the human race's tendency to fiddle with the graphic equalizer while the car rolled towards the cliff. "Read any good works of fiction lately?" Steve, still thinking about his problems with the papers, wasn't prepared for this twist in the conversation. "Eh? That's what you need. Some good get-away-from-it-all fiction." "Like what?" "Here." And Emily picked up a handbag, fished around in it for a moment, and produced a thin tattered paperback. "Take this once before bed and come back for a repeat prescription." The book's cover was adorned with a spaceship that bore a strong resemblance to an armour-plated whale. Behind it, an ominous, if unlikely, planet seemed to be on fire. "Riding the Beam" was picked out in curlicued letters on the front. "Sir Ron Rahe." "Sir who?" "Ron Rahe, a strange guy who got his knighthood, yes, that serves real enough, for single-handedly saving the UK television manufacturing industry in the 70s. He's retired now and lives in some amazing castle in Wales writing science fiction." "But I don't like science fiction." "You like Star Wars?" "Yes, but that was a film." "You can't read?" Emily smiled sharp mischief. "No, I don't read many books, or rather I didn't, but all this dreaming seems to make my head itch. Reading seems to scratch that itch a little." "That's almost poetic," said Emily. "But not that almost. Try this book. It's all good stuff, and if you don't like reading, then it's nothing lost." "Well, okay, I don't know about tonight, though. The doctor gave me a couple of books as well, and they look like they're going to take a while to read." "Oh, can I have a look?" "Sure. I think I prefer Riding the Beam, though," Steve replied with a sigh. Emily frowned when she saw the titles and flicked through manifestos of surrealism at a page a second. Steve imagined she was looking for pictures or something. In fact, Emily was reading the text at a diabolic rate. "He gave you these? What on earth for?" I'm not sure, he just said they might be helpful. If he understands them, thought Emily, then he's going to become a bit of a handful. While the old Steve would probably have thought Manifesto was some pop singer, her tamperings with his intelligence gave him a fighting chance of realising that the dreams weren't all they seemed. It was time, she thought, to finish him off. The materialisation of the pills seemed to have gone unnoticed in the other world. Perhaps one final magical malevolence would be safe. For her. What a strange doctor. Why can't they be content to farm out medicines? I don't know, said Emily. Can I borrow these? I'd like to see what's in them that the good doctor thought would be so useful. I'd like to see whatever it is as far away from your consciousness as possible, in fact. Steve's natural instinct was to say yes. He wasn't looking forward to straining his brains over the books, and any excuse to put them off for a few days would be welcome. Also, he still had high hopes of Emily and him. Well, you don't say no to harmless requests when you're trying to make a good impression, do you? No, I'd rather read them as soon as possible, he said, as much to his surprise as hers. But I'm sure you can borrow them after me. Dr. Jacobson won't mind. Why'd he said that? He must be worried over those dreams, he thought. That's fine. No, it isn't. Thanks, Steve. Do try and read the thing I gave you, though. It'll take your mind off things. I will. Thanks. You're being very good to me. I really feel I should repay you somehow. Really, there's no need for that, said Emily, meaning every word. I'd like to. How about the fair tomorrow night? My treat. Emily thought, and the plan became clear. She was enjoying this, and it would be a shame to finish it off so soon. However, it couldn't be allowed to go wrong. That does sound nice. I'd love to come. I don't think I've been to one before. Steve was surprised and pleased. Haven't you? Not even when you were a little girl? Emily, never having really been a little girl and being half as old again as the universe, could once again be more honest than usual. No, they never seemed to happen when I was young. Fancy walking back to the city centre? Steve, getting used to Emily's sudden changes of subject and feeling far less morose than before, agreed, and they got up and started to walk back through the narrow cobbled streets. Overhead, clouds obscured the sun. It looked likely to rain, probably within the hour. Steve spent the rest of the day at home reading. He started on the books from the doctor, but 3 paragraphs into Consciousness and Causality, Steve decided that riding the beam could be no worse. Indeed it wasn't, and he was surprised when, looking up, he realised he'd had to switch the room lights on, and he'd been reading it for 2 hours. It was a simple tale. A young boy living on a planet in the far future lost his parents in a pirate raid, went through various disgusting experiences, losing an arm but gaining an intelligent falsie in its place, and finally captained a giant space fleet which was nevertheless mostly manned by his close friends and aliens. This flew against the pirate stronghold, good triumphed, and the Emperor of the Galaxy appointed the hero chief praetor of the spheres. Balls, thought Steve, wouldn't have sounded quite so grand. The beam of the title was some vague interplanetary weapon that the hero used to escape from a prison planet, on a surfboard yet, but the flashing lasers, gaping ragged holes in ships' hulls through which the stars shone and soldiers got sucked, and the interstellar intrigue were fast enough to keep Steve reading until the end. When he noticed it was almost 10 o'clock and he'd missed a meal. His tooth was hurting too. Sandwich, tea, and bedtime. Half curious, half afraid of what the night would bring, Steve still remembered to get a blank C90 cassette and slot it into his clock radio. He pulled the duvet over him and switched off the lights.